Attention, everybody. The views and opinions expressed on the show are not necessarily those of Axe Ministry, Axe Media Group, and/or their affiliate and subordinate ministries and/or nonprofits. Today's topic: get in touch with your artistic side.
Ooh.
I picked that topic because we can talk about whatever we want because it's artistic.
Yes, I didn't think of me as being artistic, but hey,
And-
today I will.
And then here we go. We hit merge. M for merge right here, Jeff.
Yeah.
Boom. Now they can see us. Good morning.
Yay.
Show
Coming to
them
you
like
live.
and share, too.
Showing like and share. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Morning Drive with Matt and Jay. Wait a second. Hang on a second. Good morning. Coming to you live from Axe Media Group headquarters here in the beautiful Springfield, Missouri. It's the Morning Drive with Matt and Jay with your hosts, Matt and Jay, Steve, and Jeff.
With a G.
With a G. Old Jeff Dizzle over here.
Just dizzle. I'm artistic today.
I'm sorry.
All right.
You're being artistic today,
Oh, yeah.
Jay.
I always
Are you
wait
being
for the hook.
Feeling
You can-
artistic?
Whenever
No.
you play
Oh.
music of your own, you choose whenever to fade it out. Now, in this case, I own this song, so I can play it. All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Morning Drive with Matt and Jay. My name is Matt.
My name is Jay.
My name is Steve.
Me llamo Jeff with a G.
Yeah, and see, he said it right. Usually when people say my name is such and such in Spanish, say me llamo es, and you don't have to say es. It's me llamo Mateo.
Estudio para 6 años.
Exactly.
Esteban.
Say not. Everybody-
Esteban is German, though, right?
Estefan?
Esteban for Steve.
No, it'd be Stefan
Stefan.
or Senior Steve.
Senior Steve. I'm Senior Steve on his
I think I
cake.
guess Esteban would be Spanish. Like my name is Mateo in Spanish. Matthew.
Somebody's
Mateo.
audio's up
Mine.
on your
Oh.
phone.
For me.
There's probably somebody in there.
Sorry. Didn't mean to change the
Sorry, it's
subject.
hot. I'm turning the heat AC on.
Yeah.
That's why I have a coat on.
I was sweating last night, and I'm like,
That was
is
that.
our AC working? Apparently See? It was 75 in our place, too, and I'm like, why isn't the air on?
Can scoot down just a hair.
I was sweating last night. I thought, uh-oh,
Away
I'm
from you.
sweating.
Yeah,
I
there
thought,
we go.
I better not be running a fever. So I took my temperature anyway.
I'm all
'cause
about
I,
symmetrics.
Somebody
I'm
really
thinking,
loves
no,
this
I can't.
video.
No, I can't.
Somebody what? Oh, who was it? I wonder who that would be, Jay.
I don't know. Everybody.
I had to get on to Jordan because it was your fault, honestly. Because he was making it a game with you, see who could hit likes and
Oh,
stuff.
I remember
competition.
that.
And he
You
would have
guys
been
were-
doing it the entire. He literally would have been doing it the entire show, and people would have been like, "I don't want to see all this," and probably would have
I
stopped
like the
watching.
way it looks. It's like a smokestack of happy.
Yeah, but it's also goes right up in the middle of our screen. So.
Yes. Hey, I was going to say good morning.
Good morning.
But it's
Morning.
funny. I'm a good morning. I was watching him. He's like with his happy face.
Yeah.
We were very happy.
Oh, and I know.
You were
Until
really
he
happy.
scolded us.
Until I got onto him on the air,
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff, you
I
should
was
have
like,
seen these
"Stop
guys.
it
Me too.
now!"
All these happy faces were blowing up.
It was here. They were in the studio?
Yeah, they were doing it on live on
Facebook.
air.
Live. Yeah. You just do this to the happy faces, and the laugh, and the heart, and the. See, it's a smokestack of happy.
Well, it's a celebration, I guess.
Yes, exactly.
There you go.
Celebration of joy.
Jimmy Lee, good morning. John Stevenson, good morning. Craig Hubbard, good morning.
So, what is creativity? What would you call creative? What would you call something? What would you call being creative?
Are you asking anybody?
Yeah.
Creative. Like, what's your idea of creative?
What is your idea of creative? Mine? For me, it comes out as usually there's a need. So, like, if I need something and it's a unique situation, like I like to build furniture. So, if I have a space that's not a standard space that I need to use, then I will build a piece of furniture to fit that space to serve the purpose that that space is being converted to. So if I wanted to build shelves or something, a closet, whatever, so I would build it according to that space for the purpose of what's being put in that space. So you wouldn't want to build a closet for cleaning chemicals with shelves this high because the cans won't fit on it. And then depending on whether or not, like, so I built shelves on a garage door because it was the only space I had to build shelves, and I needed more shelves. So I built garage doors with really big hinges into the framing, and I put shelves on them. And then I had, because they're doors, you slam the door, everything falls off, right? So I had to design the shelves with the space. So if you have a can this tall and you put it on the shelf, well, it has to fit behind the little railing. But so I had to design the space of the railing, because if it's a full can and the railing is below the center line, it'll still flip off the shelf. So I had to design the shelves more than
Oh, yeah, I see.
1.5 times the height of the thing that's going on the shelf. See, so that's, for me, that's creative. That's how I do it. Like, I had to build bunk beds, and I had to build them for a small room. So I built half queen bunk beds, which is not a normal size.
No.
And the mattresses are not a normal size. But but building those half queen bunk beds, I was able to get 2 bunk beds. I built them with drawers underneath each one that went all the way back to the back of the bed. So they were big, full, deep drawers with heavy drawer slides, so they could put anything in it and it would hold it. And I made sure the measurements were right, that somebody could sit up on it without bumping their head. And then it didn't cover the heat register, it didn't cover the windows, and it didn't block the closet, which is what I had to build it for. That's why I had to build it, because any other bed would block all those things. So
That's very creative.
That's how I try to be creative, is with a purpose. You know, when I have a need and there's not something that fills that need, I build something for it.
And create.
Yeah.
You know, my idea of creativity is creative arts. You know, the arts is a big deal to me, because whether it's ministry or whether it's secular, trying to bring a message across to people, especially in church, you know, if you use dramatic arts, you got to really find something in the Bible, and then almost like people are going to open up their Bible and it's going to spring out at them.
Yeah.
That's being creative, because you have to look at the story, but you don't want to try to take the story out of context to
Morning,
make.
Jody.
You don't want the
Susan.
arts part of it to
Stacy.
overdo the message that you're trying to portray.
Right.
Because if you do that, then they're not going to get the idea of the story. They're not going to get the idea of what you're trying to portray, other than, wow, that was really cool, other than, wow, I was really blessed. You can have a cool and a blessed at the same time, but if you do it to the point where you upstage and the story becomes nothing more than just a dramatic movie
And entertainment.
and entertainment, right, then you've lost your audience, especially if it's in a church. And
Susan Burrows says, putting your talents to use is being creative.
Yeah, so thank you, Susan. She's right on the same page as I am. I mean, or gifts. If you have a gift that God's given you, you better use it, because He can take it away just
Use
as
it before
quickly.
you lose it. You ever heard that saying?
Yep, he'll take it away quicker than what you got for him.
Like Jeff with the G here. His gift is his wife and then singing.
Right.
So
I consider it creativity is sometimes fake it till you make it.
yeah, that's
And dancing.
see, like mine is singing and playing music, and then of course this, I guess, would be considered artistic, because you know, the artwork that's on here and stuff like that. This is an expression of art
Right.
Yeah.
It
by
is.
all of us.
Right.
This is what you would call a collaboration, right?
It's
Don't
a
you
media
think most
art.
of the time a purpose comes from it comes from a purpose, though, doesn't it?
Right.
Usually?
Well, purpose
our
can
purpose
be
is to witness and to.
Well, where do you get one of those? We're not near the ocean.
purpose is a motivator for creativity.
Yeah.
So they
Sorry.
kind of work in consort
Porpoise.
or concert.
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, because how often does something creative come from something meaningless and useless? You know, something.
Right. You need the motivation. And
Right.
when you have no purpose, there's no motivation except to, spin your wheels.
Yeah.
And creativity works
Scott?
optimally
Regardless
when
of whether you
there-
have purpose.
There's an objective. Like,
Are you-
and-
Bruno.
yeah, with my skill set, building anything, my go-tos are duct tape, hammer, and nails.
and Gorilla Glue.
Right.
Yeah,
Duct tape, zip ties.
Yeah.
zip ties. I'm not even good with those.
You're not even good with zip
No,
ties?
because once the zip tie is attached, I'm like, well, how do I detach? detach it.
I
mean, what-
have a
I'm
wee
like-
bit of a.
I'm now, you know,
I have a
prisoner
wee
my
bit of
own-
a phobia of zip ties. Like I'm afraid I'll get it zip tied around my finger and you know I can't get it off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or around my wrist.
They
or-
use zip ties for handcuffs.
Oh yeah, big
Right.
ones.
Yes, and they hurt.
They make them specifically for as handcuffs.
And that was a creative use of zip ties.
Yeah.
And
That-
they weren't
that very
designed
crea-
for handcuffs.
Now, don't you produce a show in Branson?
We
Well,
do.
Do
do.
you,
It's coming up
do
Thursday,
you come
right?
up with the theme and everything?
What? Okay, the show is called Hot Hits, and it reopens this Thursday night, and it'll be a Saturday as well. The next 2 weekends. 5
Now, with your
p.m.
accent, I have no
Hot
idea what
hits,
you said. The show.
Hot Hits
Oh.
Theater.
I thought it was hat.
Hot,
That's what I
Hat-
thought he
Hat,
said.
that sounds like Boston. New York's is hot. So I'm from New York, Jersey.
Hey, wh-
It did
What are you
sound
trying
like
to say?
hat. It did.
Just saying.
Sound like you said hat hits.
Someone's from,
That's what I
New
thought he
Yorkers
said.
don't know how to
Simon's from
speak. is
Boston
what it
around
sounds
I
like
here.
thought,
to
he,
me.
I thought he was being funny about
and his
what
name
I said.
starts with a J.
Is
not
there
a
a place
G.
to park the car?
You may have heard of me. I've been named after the letter of the alphabet was named after
Got the
me.
keys on the bureau.
Whoa, that's narcissism
Whoa.
at its finest.
What is
Most-
narcissistic?
Jay, the letter was named after our friend across the table.
Oh yeah, he said that to Kevin
That's-
Sorbo. He said, "You may have
Something
heard
about
of me."
that's a
K.
sociopath.
Oh, and he said something about it comes after K or it comes before K or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, he said, yeah.
That's what I thought I heard.
That's
Wow.
yeah.
I said, yeah, we used to be pretty
we
close,
were
but I
actually
haven't
sitting
seen her
closer to
since
Kevin
kindergarten.
Sorbo than he is sitting next to me.
That's a
right now.
wicked weird conclusion. That the
Wick-
letter is named after your name.
I didn't think it was narcissistic. I thought it was funny.
I'm named after something people
It got
walk all
laughs.
over
It could be read that way.
and wipe their
Yes.
feet on.
Yeah, they wiped your feet all over you.
Actually, no. I was
does
named
what?
out of the Bible,
yeah.
Matthew. And now that is, I guess, the definition of Matthew's. The name Matthew is gift of God. So there's that.
Stephen is the crowned one.
Stephen is the crowned one.
Jeff is
Wow.
with a G.
Now, is there
all I
a
know
Jeff
about
with
that.
the G in the Bible?
No,
Do you have any biblical names in your name?
not that I know of. But do you know where? Can you think of any people, famous people, whose name was Geoffrey? Jeffrey.
I know. I'm thinking of one, but I can't remember.
I grew up on. Okay,
Yeah,
I was
he works
born.
in Branson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
I was conceived the night of, according to my mom, I was conceived the night of the day that my parents moved into a house whose address was 365 Canterbury Drive. That's a hint. Who wrote the Canterbury Tales?
Jeff with a G.
Jeffrey.
I love. They have. Okay, so you guys don't know. They have this kind of trivia during their show. They
Okay.
ask the audience.
Jeffrey, before Shakespeare, who was the great British English writer? Before William Shakespeare, 100 years before him. Jeffrey, with a C.
Dahmer. No?
H-A-U, Chaw. Jeffrey Chaw, Sir.
That's,
Jeffrey Chaucer wrote
that was
the
my next. That was
Canterbury
my next
Tales.
guess.
Yeah. How did you know we were?
It
gonna
was
say
right
that?
on the tip of my
Okay,
tongue, and then you said it.
That would be a good. That would be a good
like
trivia
we're-
question for.
We're right here.
Another Jeffrey. F.A.O. Schwartz. What's one of the famous stuffed animals?
Jeff with a
Jeffrey
G.
the Jeffrey's giraffe.
Thank you. With a G.
Jeffrey
I thought that was
Giraffe?
Toys R Us.
A
I
famous.
thought all Jeffreys were with a G.
No.
No,
they
it's
were
J.
in Old English.
But I thought
But it was actually
Jeffrey-
pronounced Joffrey.
I thought that was Toys R Us.
Yeah, but they pronounce it Jeffrey with
yeah.
Jeffrey the giraffe.
Well,
And
okay, so
boys, it
so-
rhymes
wait,
with.
So okay, no. So I will just say that you had mentioned that title, but the R was forwards, not backwards.
Right.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Legalities.
Okay, another one. Famous fashion designer. Jeffrey with
Chalmer.
a B. Bean. Jeffrey Bean.
So you were named after all those people?
And Jeffrey Holder. Remember the Uncola nut? The
Jeffrey
Jamaican?
Bean, that guy's such a
Who did the
gas.
Uncola nut commercials? the
Oh,
Uncola
yeah,
nut for
I thought-
Coca-Cola. Jeffrey Holder, Jamaican.
So which
Oh,
one were
I
you
thought it
named
was
after?
7 Up. Oh, man, I'm
Jeff,
really.
I about called you Jeff. Jeevan?
Steve with a G.
Jeevan.
So I was named after Jeffrey Chaucer.
You know, Jeffrey, my puppet, did a song of yours,
Yeah.
and that's Jeffrey with a J though.
Boring. Boring.
I know.
Totally boring.
I don't know what's wrong with me today. I'm just popping things out that should be unnamed.
You're being very creative.
Thank you.
Steve Jobs. Talk about creative. Steve Jobs.
Yeah,
He's
You're
the
a little too creative.
guy named after the fruit with a G.
Oh yeah.
Fruit with a G.
Yeah,
Oh,
grape.
wow.
Isn't that his company?
I have had 20,000 views of my photo on Google Maps.
Your photo.
What?
Yeah, when I was at the Guitar Center and had the guitar, just picked up the guitar, I took a picture of it and posted it on Google Maps.
20,000.
20,000 views
Whoa.
on this
Wow.
Whoa.
See, that's creative.
photo. Well, the guitar itself is used in
Or-
my creativity.
Perhaps 20,000 uncreative people who have nothing else to do but look at pictures of a guitar.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Don't
be that.
stifle my creativity, Jeffrey.
Yeah, Jeffrey with a G.
It's a creative picture of a guitar.
It is.
See, that starts with a G.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to listen to his album?
Oh, yeah. I've heard some of it. It's amazing.
That's original, all original music that he created.
That's
There you-
fantastic. No, seriously, that's amazing.
It was
Now,
amazing
what you
to
do
be
with the
there.
guitar was what's amazing.
Good morning, Rachel and Mickey Matt.
I love playing guitar. I need to actually start practicing more because
See, for me, it's the lyrics and
Yeah.
what the lyrics make you feel and how you relate to the lyrics.
Kind of like Bob Dylan.
No, not at all like Bob Dylan. Let's not get carried away, Jeff.
No, I'm not going to the disaster leader training on Saturday because I work. Sorry about that.
Sorry. No, he was good.
My wife was a hang buddy with Bob Dylan.
Was she really?
Yeah.
Uncle Ray, good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Ray.
Good morning.
Happy
birthday.
Could you imagine?
Bob Dylan.
I actually started one time. I was messing around and singing one of my songs. Jesus, my Lord.
Yeah.
Oh, could you imagine
How
that?
can I say thank you, my Lord,
Don't even have to imagine it anymore because he's so creative.
for what you've done
That
for
he-
me?
Exudes.
I want everybody to know.
Remember
you.
his
Original
Christian
thought.
Christian albums? The one was called Slow Train Running. My wife was a friend of his when he became born again Christian, and he
The name God starts with a G.
He was attacked for that, and it's her feelings that Bob never lost his faith.
Does
but
that work for drummers? Troy asks.
You know what I think is
morning,
interesting
Scott
and
Scanlon.
creative, and sometimes the
Scanlon, how are
dividend
ya?
is not gotten until
Michael
much
Miller?
later. Like when new forms of art come out. So, like, do you remember? Well, of course, we don't remember because it was probably before us. But avant-garde art,
Yeah.
right?
What'd
Keith
you say?
Bradford.
Avant-garde. It's art that doesn't. You can't just look at it and see. It's unconventional. So you see like shapes and stuff or a line on a page or whatever. Isn't it amazing though, and very creative, that they come out with this art, this new art, and then they explain what it is and they tell you, right? So then when you start to see other forms of avant-garde art, you start to think, you start to say, what could this be? And so this is a kind of art that really doesn't have a specific thing that somebody comes to anytime they come to look at it,
Well-
but that it's the idea behind that art that anybody who comes to see it starts to be creative on their own.
Yes, that's what I was saying. It activates people's artistic side.
But the avant-garde art on its own wouldn't have,
Right.
except for the dialogue that said what this is and why it's such great art, which is that it could be this, it could be that, and people start to create on their own. I think that is a genius form of art.
Well, it encourages creative interpretation.
Yeah.
Right, but without all the dialogue and without telling people what this really is,
Picture's worth 1,000 words.
they
so
wouldn't
that's,
come to,
you know.
they'd just say, what is that? I hate it. You know what I mean?
But hate or love, it's still doing what it's
Yeah,
intended.
it's inspiring
It
something.
makes you
yeah.
want to seek out the artist and find out what it means to him.
Yeah.
Because I've seen stuff like just strokes of paint on a canvas, just like 3 lines or whatever, or just one line right down the center, and that's like hundreds of thousands of dollars of artwork.
I know.
Yeah.
I've seen artwork like that. That's
I
art?
should book an exhibit and have it on my own, and then make it like use crayons and scented markers.
Or splotches of paint and splotches.
There's all kinds of amazing stuff people are doing. Like they're attaching they have an attachment that goes on the back of the canvas that goes on a drill, and they're putting oil paints on in layers and then spinning it and making all these different really, really cool designs.
I like the cool patterns, and they're a joy to look at, but I don't know that that's as creative as something more intentional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where everything on the page was put there by the artist with
Didn't
intention,
Vincent van
like
Gogh cut
something
his
didn't
own ear
randomly fall. No, there's a bunch of stories about that, and they're not really sure what's true. Apparently, there's a story about it that it was a dispute with him and a lover, who was also another famous artist. I can't remember who the guy was, but
Well, he probably just didn't want to hear nagging. Anyways,
no, it was a real dispute they had.
so he cut off his
They
ear.
lived together for a while.
There's a criticism of abstract art, postmodern art,
Abstract, yeah.
avant-garde, that what happened is that they threw out the craft to a certain extent and created a narrative versus
And that's what I think is the true art in avant-garde, is the narrative, because it's the narrative that when you see avant-garde, you know, you've heard the narrative behind it, and you know that you're supposed to imagine it is something, and that's where you become creative, and that's the narrative. Isn't that what you mean?
I'll just give you an example of the criticism of it. The pushback is that when you look at the
spaced out
realistic
for a second.
art, you see a craft, you see the
Yes.
ability to recreate and to appreciate the creation,
Something
the
actually
individuals,
that exists
that
in
you can
nature.
actually, yes. Whereas, for example, one famous artist, he took a picture of a toilet, or no, he actually put a toilet, and he just said, "This is art," and that sold for, I believe, millions of dollars ultimately. And
A toilet.
yeah, I
Just
can't
a
remember
picture of a toilet?
I can't remember which it was. Was it either a picture or
Sounds
an
pretty
actual toilet?
crappy.
And he just for the fun of it, just as almost an experiment, he said, "This is
that art
is
went
art."
in the toilet.
And it somehow he was actually not. He did it as a joke.
So
But
now
they
I don't
took it
know if you
seriously.
intended, when you said narrative, to put into words what I was trying to say.
No, the point is what he was doing. He was actually creating. He was testing it. For example, and will they actually call this art? They did. Now, my friend, old friend Chris Wink, he created what's it's famous performance group called the Blue Man Group.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now, Chris wanted me to do it with him, and because we had done this.
They're still performing.
Yeah, they're
Not the
internet-
original.
Not
No,
the original.
but they still own it. Chris and Matt and Phil, the three guys. But Chris really, he's the brains behind the whole thing, the driving force. We were friends in New York City, and anyway, what Chris told me, this was his theory. He was a very smart guy. His dad was a Columbia professor, but Chris, he was a guy who really was way out of the box. He told me, he said, "Jeff, I'll tell you what I'm going to prove is that if you commit yourself to something, no matter how insane the idea or the product may be, eventually you will be called a genius." And that was
Well,
the
you know,
beginning of Blue Man Group.
They say there is.
Wow. Yeah, that's quite an insane group, but they're good.
Now, did they actually paint themselves blue?
Yes. Well, I mean, they had blue like makeup. I'm not
That's
exactly
what
how
I'm
they
talking
did.
about. Yeah, makeup.
When
I say paint, I mean makeup.
It's midnight blue. It's almost black. Super dark blue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really
And
cool.
Beautiful blue.
yeah, and so they.
I always
Chris
watched
was-
them because it was interesting. I was expecting something.
That's
Well,
me.
what you were talking about with Blue Man, with for example,
With
you
the
talking about
tubes and the-
you leverage your skills for building, which I don't
Yeah.
have. That's why I use duct tape. Whereas Chris was a very good percussionist, and he had a great personality. So what he did, he built the Blue Man Group around and he was unbelievably gifted because we used to do this together. He was unbelievably gifted at catching flying objects with his mouth.
Wow.
And that is a big part of the original Blue Man Group. You throw whatever it is, he'd catch it. He was unbelievable. And I would do it with him. I was getting pretty skilled at it too, but I could not touch what Chris could
Okay,
do.
was he catching knives?
So
and
this
stuff in it?
this he literally leveraged into I can't imagine how much money that the Blue Man Group has
They're
earned.
iconic.
I got really good at catching fists in the mouth when I was a boxer. That was
So I
did
was
too.
like, this is too
I
crazy.
wasn't a boxer.
I mean, you know what? Honestly, the bottom line, to a large extent, I was like, I'm too busy. I'm going to work. I have to go to work to pay my bills.
Right. Well, you know what else you can think of? So when we think of words, right? So I was stealing your word, the narrative, and that's what I was trying to say is that avant-garde art, where it really isn't anything. When you look at it, it's not a specific thing, but it's the narrative that behind it, where people understand that you're supposed to look at this and see something. So then they start to create something in their own mind. But that brings me to words. What about poetry?
Poetry is definitely creative art.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a songs start as poems 9 times out of
Right.
10.
Do you
And-
think they all inspire a vision, something you see, whether it's in your mind or with your eyes directly?
Not necessarily.
Well, some of it you feel. True, yeah.
They're pressure washing.
And
the side of the
sometimes
building.
it comes from real life situations.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have you looked at, especially avant-garde art,
I've looked
in
at
whatever form, and say, what?
I didn't like it at first. I didn't like it at all. I actually was critical of it and said, well, this is ridiculous.
Rosebud.
Even Van Gogh. I thought, what is this? He's the one who did the sunflowers,
And his
right?
cousin Van Went.
Paint it and they will buy.
Right. And they will come.
Van Went.
Was it Van Gogh that did the sunflowers?
Van Gogh did Vanilla Sky,
What about the
Melting
Sunflower
Time, or
series.
whatever.
Yeah. What about the husband and wife, the farmer with the pitchfork?
Oh yeah, that was who was it?
Huh?
No, it wasn't.
No.
Van
No,
Gogh.
I mean I was wondering who did it. Yeah, go ahead and look it up there.
He's
I
really
know you
good.
will.
I liked his art too.
Whistler's Mother.
Grant.
That's a good one. That's just an old lady sitting in a.
Oh yeah, you
Chair.
get close. You get in there.
Yeah, Grandma Moses.
No,
Anyway, how about Andy Warhol's Campbell soup can?
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Just multiple color spectrum of a bunch of. I mean, it looks like you're tripping. I mean, he probably was tripping when he painted.
I mean,
it.
is that
you look at it
genius,
long
or-
enough and you'll feel like you're tripping.
or is that just a get over?
I like the Men in
I
Black.
think it is genius. I
like-
think anything that inspires somebody to look and to try to see past
I'm
what's just
filming
right
this
there on the
person
page.
eating a cheeseburger. It's just so transcendent.
Because
Yeah.
even though things like the Mona Lisa are great art just by themselves, it's asking the question, what was she thinking? What's behind that smile? That is really what inspires the creativity, right? Because you can just look at a piece of art and see it as something beautiful on its own. But then when you start to ask those questions, and I think that's what I mean, what you were saying is with the narrative, it's the idea that when you look at something, you're supposed to ask questions about it. You're supposed to wonder and put yourself in that place and try to, to be, to make it your own in some way.
Yeah. Dad always says, "Oh yeah, they're pressure washing the window now."
Yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't come in like the concrete dust did last week.
Oh yeah.
That kind of inspires
At first
another.
I thought I didn't think it was
What?
supposed to rain.
What?
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 I'm not sure.
The noise.
Oh,
What?
What?
Yeah, isn't that crazy that we just have noises come out of our face
Well, they're testing the windows.
and
I think.
and we use that as communication? That kind of stuff blows me away. I was telling him
The
earlier
great artist.
because he
God.
said whenever his back was down, he had to read a lot, otherwise he was going to lose his mind. I said, so basically, whenever you're reading, you're looking at slices of dead trees and hallucinating.
And when you
Oh,
have
man.
have no control over your environment and how it's inflicting itself upon what you're all trying to do, that seems to be contradictory tasks. You can get very creative in how to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in bed for a year, and
Find games to play with your brain.
I got pushed through to the 9th grade and then kicked out, and so I couldn't hardly read at all. But I was lucky to get the first book that I really read, because I was stuck in bed, was The Wind at Morning. And it was the story of Magellan's voyage around the world by from the perspective of Juan, which was a ship's boy. He was a boy on the ship that
Okay,
went
so,
around the world.
guess what? I think I'm hearing Magellan. He's at sea,
Oh yeah, because of the pressure
Yes.
washing.
Right,
Genius.
I would
Did
just.
you mean for that to happen?
stimulating
No.
my creative
See,
possibilities.
They're being
You
creative
can't
out there.
see, but we've got water splashing up on the windows.
It's-
Right,
It's a time
right
warp,
behind the spider webs.
telekinesis, a lot of stuff going on here.
But it took me like
They're
I
getting
don't
rid
know,
of the spider webs.
2 weeks to read that book, and it was a very short book. And then after that, it was such a great book to me. People started to recommend, oh, if you like that, you like this. If you like that, you like this. And so then I spent that year reading and got interested in reading. Started reading to my kids at bedtime. But before that, I could hardly read.
No,
Like-
I read now, and I also listen to audiobooks. My brain stays occupied probably 90% of the time that I'm awake.
That's
Yeah.
the in thing now is audiobooks. Anyway, your eyes get lazy from reading, especially if you got a night light.
I get
or-
tired and try to go to sleep because I used to read before I went to sleep. I used to read in bed, and
I've
you
done that.
program your brain to do that. So, but I've got I got a Kindle now.
Magellan's
They're
getting
getting-
close. I think there's
they're
a
not-
hurricane outside at this point.
So what I'm going to do is this. This is
It
gonna
sounds
be
like
funny.
it's pouring rain.
We all got to
while
pretend
it-
like we're on a sea.
We're going to acknowledge the
second.
elephant outside the room.
Yeah, there's waves of water coming out coming at us.
This is
but
deep.
So so here's what we do. Watch this. Oh, that's zooming. Never mind.
If
I'm
not
surprised
digging
Matt didn't
digging
get
a
that.
ditch and falling into it with a dirt just coming back on our heads right now.
All right, watch.
Yeah.
See, this is what people are seeing.
Are you
Look at this,
distracted
Jeff.
by that? See, I'm shutting it out.
No,
Look at
I'm
that.
just I'm in it. I'm actually in it.
Matt and I can't help it. Oh,
Is there a difference between craft
we
and
can
See
art?
that?
to
We're
him.
going side to side like we're on a boat.
Absolutely. Yes, the difference between craft and art.
Is there a difference? Is one clearly a craft and one clearly art?
We're upside down.
I'm speechless.
oh man.
This is our look at this. This is our abstract show we've got going on this morning.
Craft to me lenses is like skill.
Leave it sit
getting
like
dizzy.
that. for a
Craft
moment.
is skill.
Yeah.
It's something that
This
is
is
learned.
abstract. Ready? It's going to stay on abstract.
Whoa.
Art. You said art, right? Craft versus art.
Yeah. Can they look the same and really not be?
No, I'm just going to leave it
the
like
same.
that for a second. We're back to normal now. Sorry,
Art
guys.
is craft to me is kind of working within the box and be or drawing from the box
I've got
what
some,
of
but I
the
can't
what you've
do
learned,
it.
whereas art is going out. It tends to go outside the box,
Right.
and so they can
It's so maybe
Color.
how original
they
it
can
is.
work together, but they're mutually independent. But they also in working together, I believe that's where you can go.
So
and
you can
find
have a
product.
craft without being artistic, but
Rob
you can't be
Judkins.
artistic without having
Welcome to
a craft. Do
party.
you think?
No, you can be artistic without having craft. Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Like calligraphy. Well, that's a craft.
Oh, that's
Right,
definitely a
because it's learned
craft.
and
I
it's
did that in school.
very-
I love calligraphy. I'm not good at it,
But
but I
what-
love it.
What you're talking about with avant-garde art?
No, any
Hey.
art.
Wait,
So like a
in other words-
writer, somebody who writes books, right?
That's
Yeah.
considered creative art.
And it's also
It's
a craft.
also a craft. Yeah.
not necessarily. Because
Calligraphy
you
is
could-
more
you-
of a craft.
Listen, art, art is in the eye of the beholder.
Ah.
Uh-huh.
Art
So-
is relative. Is that what you're saying?
No.
It's a relative term?
Certainly,
waved.
the appreciation or unappreciation of art is personal. Can be, very
Yeah.
personal.
Because
Yeah.
somebody could see something and be absolutely just drawn into something, and then it's absolutely
I mean,
incredibly
let-
beautiful. But then another person could be standing beside saying, I hate that.
Let's
That's
talk
not
about
art."
rap music. Rap music, for example.
That's definitely creative art.
Okay.
Now you're
was
gonna
that-
have to
how
clean
many
off
people
the
when
mic.
that came out? How many people considered that to be music.
I hated it at first, and then they came out with some that the lyrics really, I related to it. It sounded, the stories they were telling were stories of my own life that I recognized as,
That's what
as
it
part
is.
of me.
Yeah.
I could relate
A
to
lot
it.
of the rap today, though, it's mumble rap, and they don't make any sense.
Yeah.
But like, there are some really good ones.
There's
And
Christian
I love
rap
your
now.
beatboxing,
It's
by the way.
But it's opinion, though. What
It
you're
is.
talking
That
about is
is.
opinion. Is
But
what
art-
how you respond to it.
But your preference to art, I mean, it is something, in a way, you feel included.
The fact that we're even talking about it like this, it is
artistic.
artistic. It is artistic.
Yeah, and the Christian rap that I never thought that there would be ever a Christian rap, but it's nothing more than they're taking words out of the Bible and relating it to their life and kind of
You know-
mixing it.
God has His music that reaches all different walks of life.
Right.
You know, like there's a group called Red, and it's a heavy metal Christian.
Yeah, I know
love
who they
their I
are.
love their music. And people might be like, I hate that. That's not music. Well, you know what? To some people, it is, and they are hearing the testimony of God and Jesus
Or
Christ
the
in those
gospel.
songs. So, and it is art. I guess is in the eye of the beholder. Wouldn't you say?
How about when you the creative ability to make wine?
Yeah.
Some people say, just wine, drinking wine at all is sin, or, it's.
But
For me,
it's
it
not.
leads to sin.
But
It does. Definitely.
But that's for me.
how do you go from? So what do you do about the art of
Or
wine?
creativity of
I
wine.
think.
So
I
it's
think.
like it's interesting when you try to.
And there
talk
is
about
there is a beauty in
attention.
an art, and also a knowledge base and patience in regards to making wine, because there are different regions where the grapes grow differently. If there's a drought, the grape is more intensely flavored.
What side of the mountain?
What side of
did
the
it go?
mountain? I mean, there's so much that goes into this, and I mean, personally, I don't drink wine anymore because I'm an alcoholic, but I do love the taste of wine.
But you know why it's fermented grape juice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jesus made
So
wine.
it-
That was
it-
his first
they
miracle
had wine.
that they-
there
in the
was
Bible.
there was no refrigeration. That they
So it naturally
Or if
occurred.
you leave it in a barrel too long overnight or 2 days, it's very fermented.
Yeah. Well, the higher the heat, the more fermentation there is, the stronger it is. Really. I mean,
I think
I
it's
know-
the amount of sugar in the.
well,
mix.
that too.
That's what I've heard.
There's a delicate balance, and that I believe that is an art and a craft.
Yeast eats sugars and starches, and yeast's product is alcohol.
Yeah.
So the more sugar and starches in the mix,
just like malt liquor for
depending
beer,
on
right?
when the yeast dies, you can kill the yeast, and that will stop the fermenting.
Yeah.
So
And this
you'll
is
have
all
a
super
sweeter
delicate.
wine or a sweeter drink.
What about beer?
Beer,
liquor.
beer is
Yeah.
self-carbonating.
Well,
Um,
and malt is a carbohydrate.
But I'm talking
So
about
sugar.
the appreciation
Oh yeah.
of
it.
these.
Yeah.
Right.
That
The tasting and being able to pick out the different floral hints and the stuff that they add and the
But
stuff
was
they
it
do.
was it initially something that was a problem? Was it a mistake? It's like, oh well, you know what? If I don't drink this, I'm going to die of thirst. So I'm going to drink it anyway, even though it's grape juice that went bad.
It
You're like,
also
you know what? This is
was a
not
way
bad.
of purifying water.
Yeah.
Getting fluids without having to drink bad water.
Hi, Stacy. Watered wine is like back whenever they didn't have super clean water, they would drink watered wine. Plus, it also it even says in the Bible to drink a little wine to help your stomach, right?
Right,
6
so you
ounces of
find-
red wine helps his heart healthy.
Yeah, I mean because you're getting all the antioxidants from the grapes, from the skins of the grapes.
You know what I think would be very creative? To figure out the positive purpose for mosquitoes.
Oh, mosquitoes suck.
I mean, coffee supposedly stimulates your brain. They figured out, well, coffee's good for you because it stimulates your brain. But has anyone found a good purpose for mosquitoes?
Or
They-
Let's be
bees.
honest.
Well, mosquitoes, we
horseflies.
know about bees. Bees do have a good purpose.
Yeah, they do. They got the honey.
Horseflies, no.
No.
They bite you and leave blood. Mosquitoes feed the they're lower on the line. They actually feed other insects.
That's true.
Birds and insects. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, everything has its purpose. This is one. Well, the only cog in the machine
But
that's
there are
broken
plenty of
is
bugs
man.
for them to eat.
But see, horseflies, they've got a purpose too, just to annoy the heck out of you and to bite you, and that's their purpose.
And
Well-
food for dragonflies.
And yeah,
Oh, that's true.
and to make your horse buck.
That's
Yeah, I
true.
don't
You're
like
right.
the horsefly.
Horses do not like horseflies because they hurt and they latch on. I've swatted them horseflies like that big.
Wow.
Yeah, they get big. Well,
Oh yeah, in Florida they do.
in Florida they got cockroaches that fly and bite you. So
Yes.
What?
I know.
Yeah.
I've had that happen.
palmetto bugs, they're big
Yes.
cockroaches.
Yes.
And they fly
fly.
and they bite you.
I
They
didn't know
will
that.
fly and they will bite you.
They don't
And
really bite in New York.
They don't what?
They don't bite in New York. I'm okay with roaches.
I'm not.
I mean, if
When I lived in Florida-
I'll take a roach over a mosquito any day.
We
Except
lived
I don't
in-
love these palmettos. I'm
An
like, I'm not going to
infestation of
Florida.
roaches?
That's out.
Roaches are gross. I hate roaches.
They
I
get
know.
all in your cupboards.
Ooh, I
and your-
grew up when I was living in Florida. I grew up on we have to put those little white pills down.
I had so I remember this, and this wasn't my dad. This is my biological mother, and my stepdad. But we lived in this place, and the roaches were so bad. And this was from the beach, down by the beach, in Panama City Beach, Florida.
Ooh.
Actually, those roll-up Venetian blinds
Yes.
that
Yeah.
have the tubular deal.
Yep.
You couldn't see the sun through it because
Whoa.
that was a roach's nest. That's how bad that was.
Hmm. Oh, I believe it.
So
All right, I'm tired of talking about roaches and mosquitoes.
I thought
Steve,
you liked
had,
roaches.
Whoa.
No, I'm okay with roaches because
Oh.
they don't bite. I take them over
That's
mosquitoes.
food
it's
for
all
the
it's all relative.
Big old New York rats you guys have. Are the rats
do.
really that big in New
The
York?
rat's the size of cats.
They do bite, but I've never been bitten by one, thank God. Or I might not be alive because they give you rabies. But
Well, I
anyway-
mean, I watched a video of somebody in New York following a giant rat around. I thought that
I
was
remember
just a
seeing
myth.
that. Something like that.
Are they really? I mean, in New York City, like I guess Manhattan,
It's the river rats.
The river
like,
rats?
Like if you go to the docks
Right.
where the boats are, you can sometimes see river rats that are
Hmm.
like, I mean, like 40, 50 pounds.
Wow.
Huge. Maybe more. Yeah, it's so
That's
it's
scary.
It's really scary.
you don't want to put them on a spit and roast
But
them.
usually when you see them on the subway, they're usually like maybe 2-3 pounds.
And if
you
they get scared, they're aggressive, aren't they?
Oh yeah, if they're cornered, but they're usually just running from you.
Did you say 40 pounds?
Yeah,
50
yeah.
pounds?
About the size
river
of a
rats.
raccoon.
River rats. Google it. River rats. Yeah,
Our
seriously.
dogs are not even 40, 50 pounds. A 40, 50 pound dog is
I
massive.
I saw one. That's why 79th Street boat basin. Yeah, where there's like private boats.
Stacey
basins,
Wedeking
small
says her mom said drinking coffee will ruin her growth.
I've heard that so many years.
When my
it's-
mom was still alive, she told me if I drink coffee, it'll ruin my growth. They used to tell me all kinds of things: stunt your growth,
Yep.
turn your hands black.
Nope. I've never heard that one.
This was at AA in DeLand, Florida.
Oh, okay.
What else did they say?
Coffee with cream, I think, gives me bad breath.
I think coffee with cream gives anybody bad breath.
Well, except if it's hazelnut, is that hazelnut?
That is not hazelnut.
I didn't think so. It didn't taste like hazelnut.
I got some sugar-free s'more flavored syrup at the house.
Oh.
It's pretty
Wow.
good. Jay would hate it because it's sugar-free.
All right. Well, okay.
Rachel would love it.
Rachel. Okay. Since I'm going to try to steer this back to me, since I'm a performer and
Okay, well, we
all
got
performers are
we got a
narcissists.
minute and 45
Steve,
seconds.
Steve asked me about creativity in our show,
Right.
the from Broadway to Hollywood to Branson.
Right.
That's in Branson Thursday and Saturday night at 5
At
p.m.
Hot
next 2
Hits
weeks.
Theater.
Okay, this
Great
is
plug.
what happened is my wife and I, we are performers. We were just natural entertainers. We came out of the womb that way. But
Right.
we also took dance class. We took voice lessons. We sang in choirs. We did little shows, little rinky-dink shows, this and that. And we did more and more.
Just
Played
imagine a
piano.
baby going.
So there's skills that were developed while we already kind of had a propensity towards entertaining. So
Right.
that all comes together, and you keep building it, building it, building it. So then it makes it easier to
Take on a role.
be creative and be creative in ways that people really want to look at it.
And
Right.
there's certain scenes and certain things that you do in the show that are very creative. Because didn't you say that was ad lib?
Oh yeah, well we afford ourselves the opportunity just to share because we tell our stories. We tell my mom's story because we sing a lot of her music. Mm-hmm. And I may talk too fast, like Ben Shapiro, but I apologize for that because I'm from New York.
Can you repeat all that? No.
We got 30
No,
seconds.
because I can't remember what I said.
But that gives you the diversity to be more available for more roles.
Well, and it makes it more real. It's easy to make things real when you're doing it on the fly. So it's interesting. It's upside and the downside to
gotta be a
creativity
big fly.
versus setting things. There's positive and negative to both, but bringing them together, I think that's what's exciting. That's where you get Steve Jobs, guy with unbelievable creativity,
Yes.
an unbelievable mind.
now, who's he?
But he knew he understood he also understood computers.
Microsoft.
He was a
Wait,
Microsoft.
no.
Apple.
Apple.
That's what I was talking about. The fruit with the G. Well, the G was just teasing you about your name.
But see, that's where you threw me because I'm like, wait, Apple starts with an A. Well, how does G go to Apple? That's why you threw. I didn't respond
I
back.
was just I was teasing you about your
threw
name.
me. You
Oh,
threw me,
John.
bro.
It's my creative, man. My
See,
Yeah,
creative.
I just-
that's you
I
found
was
your
so-
creativity.
you
You looked
knocked
at the
me
Mona.
over.
You looked at the Mona Lisa, and you didn't see anything.
No, I did. I was at the Louvre. I saw Mona Lisa. She was cool.
Now,
She's
see,
aight.
you missed that one too. That was
She's
how
a
you missed
beautiful
my.
young
I was
lady.
referring. It was a metaphor
very
for how you
quiet.
missed my pun about the fruit with a G.
You're creatively ripping me
Randy
to
gonna be here
shreds.
today?
I'm in the third.
Oh,
I
no.
follow-
Yes.
Wow. Another.
Wow, I'm trying.
I'd like to thank
Fine.
everybody for joining us on the morning
Ouch.
drive today. We'll be back
I
on
figured you'd
tomorrow,
get it.
same time, same channel. Be sure and tune in next for The Spirit in America with Randy Barr and his guest, followed by Crime Time with
Crime
Dr.
Time.
Steve Albrecht. And then tune in later, starting at 3 o'clock. We got Troy and Belinda Johansson are broadcasting 3 hours worth of programming. It's going to be a lot of fun. They got a couple thousand views yesterday on that.
I saw some of it. Wow.
It's really good. I mean, I had a lot of fun.
At the very beginning.
At the very beginning, I kind of chimed in a lot. Anyways, so until then, my friends, God bless you and keep you. We love you. My name is Matt,
My name is Jay.
My name is Steve.
Wow, I am Jeff with a G.
and this has been The
Morning Drive.